Would I be able to build a whole web app without writing one single line of code? I'm programming since 35 years and I wanted to do a challenge and not just writing a simple web app, but something which is able to download a YouTube video, transcribe it into a text and make it searchable. Something which also has frontend and backend and using multiple APIs. I wanted to know how far I would come and how the app will look like in the end. Would it be something which would be useful? Would it be ugly? Would it be slow? I installed CursorAI. I subscribed to the $20 per month subscription. And I chose Claude 3.5 Sonnet for everything. At the beginning I asked AI how it would do the overall architecture, and then I went through step by step and said, do now this part, do now this part. So I chose an iterative approach. It was not just one prompt at the beginning and then do everything automatically. I wanted to see how every step goes. In the process I applied everything AI came up with blindly. I didn't review it, I just applied it, the code, even the npm installs, everything it said, I just did. First, I started with the frontend. I told Claude that I want to use React and Tailwind and what the different elements of the page would be and how they would interact with each other. And then it came up with something pretty usable. Some things were off, like the buttons were not on the same line as the input elements. I wanted to have dark mode, of course. And all these things were just a matter of 1 minute, or even the dark mode. Maybe it took 2 minutes, but not more than that. It was really, really fast. And then I realized that, oh, I want to use Next.js because I also have a backend. I think it took like 10 minutes, so it was a Next.js project. Then I tackled the backend. I asked Claude to write a node module which would download a YouTube video. It came up with some code, but the video would not download. It always had errors. I did like 10 iterations and 30 minutes in, the code still didn't work. The problem was that YouTube tries to block you from downloading videos. So I would need to use a library which is very up to date with the latest techniques. I researched that and then told Claude which library to use, but it still wouldn't work. I needed to look up documentation online and then point Claude into the right direction, and finally it would download the videos. Not so easy. To transcribe the video into text, I wanted to use OpenAI Whisper. Also there, Claude came up with some code, but the code also just wouldn't work. The API call never ended. 30 minutes in, I just went to the OpenAI documentation, copy-pasted some code block and told Claude to use this one. And from there, through some debugging, it then magically worked. May I present you my little web app? You can put in a YouTube URL here. It would show you the preview here, which you could even play. And then you hit transcribe. This takes usually like 10 to 20 seconds. And then you can search for some keywords. Let's try Google search. And then it would see exactly where Google is a hit. Google DeepMind, la la. And then you can click watch here, and then it would open Google and it would go to the position the word was found in. What Claude provides is finding solutions to tough problems, like how would I search a text in a transcript and then link to the correct position in a YouTube video. That's not something I told Claude how to solve. It came up with the solution itself. What also helps is that the code Claude produces is a lot cleaner than the code I usually program. I am very lazy. I take shortcuts and the code quality usually shows. Claude creates components. It just uses the best practice from the web. And in the end, I had a code base which looked healthy. Then the front-end part was a bliss. I think I never need to center a div in my life again. But then for the backend, Claude was not so strong after all. Maybe the APIs are changing so fast, so Claude is using old APIs. But in the end, yes, I would use it. The whole setup of the code was so fast, the front and backend, how it interacts together. The whole boilerplate is just so easy with AI. How much faster am I with AI? I would say about 2 to 3 times as fast as manual programming. It's not a magic bullet. It's not that I write a prompt for 10 minutes and then the whole program is there and just works. Then coding with AI is not a walk in the park. It's hard to come up with good prompts. It's maybe even more stressful than writing code, because with code I had some half an hour just code down what I already had in my mind. It was just flowing out of my hands. With AI, I don't have these calm moments where I just code. It's always like this hard next step. How can I approach this next step? What does CursorAI bring to the table? I think the apply button alone is a game changer. I asked Claude to add more spacing between the elements. It comes up with a code and I can just apply it here and it would tell me what changes it does. And then I can just accept it, right? Of course, I just never checked. I just accept it and save the file and done. This is so much faster than going back and forth into the chat window and then seeing what changes I need to apply. What's also nice is it takes the current file into the context. I can also say I want to have the whole project as a context. And this is so much easier than choose to upload your files every time to the chat window. But also there are some challenges. Cursor is not version 1 yet. Like if you have a step-by-step approach, it's hard to lose track and to see what steps I already did and where I am at the moment. So I think there should be some improvements. Sometimes I ran into the problem that it was not clear to which file this change belongs to. In this example, you see the change belongs to page.jsx, so this is easy. But sometimes this would just be missing and then I would need to find out what files it belongs to. And I think it comes from the fact that Claude and Cursor are still different companies and the API is not perfect. Bottom line is, I would never want to go back. And I think I somehow saw the light, this new way of programming, which is exciting for me for after 35 years of programming. Such a big shift. I will be a lot faster with using CursorAI and Claude as a site builder. Time was always the problem for me. That's why I tried this out to see, could this be a solution to my time problem? And it certainly is. If you're a developer, do a challenge like me to see how far you can get and try to really not write one single line of code. For me, it was so hard because I often thought I knew better. And that was my little experiment. That's all from me today. Bye bye.